Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will be learning relative clauses. Let's get started. Relative clauses are introduced by relative pronouns which, who, whose, and that, and relative adverbs where and when. Who or that is used to define people. Which or that is used to define things, animals, or ideas. Whose is used to define possession. Where is used to define place, and when is used to define time. There are two types of relative clauses, defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. Let me give you some guidelines for both types. Defining relative clauses make clear which person or thing we are talking about. They are necessary to understand the meaning of the sentence. Without them, the sentence doesn't make any sense. Look at the examples. The students won't get any marks. They cheated in the exam. The second sentence gives us a necessary information to define which students won't get any marks. So, the appropriate relative pronoun is who to be used. The students who cheated in the exam won't get any marks. The man is my maths teacher. He's over there. Again, the second sentence gives us a necessary information to understand which man we are talking about. The man who is over there is my maths teacher. Now, look at the third example. That's the girl. I met her at the concert last week. We can omit the relative pronoun when the person or thing being defined is the object of the sentence. However, it's not wrong if it is inserted in the sentence. So, that's the girl I met at the concert last night is the sentence in which you hide the relative pronoun. And what about which? Look at the examples. The car belongs to my sister. It is parked in my park. The second sentence defines which car you are talking about, so it gives a necessary information. The car, which is parked in my park, belongs to my sister. Look at the second example now. That's the dress. I bought it for my sister's wedding. Since the dress is the object in the second sentence, we can omit the relative pronoun, which so the sentence will be that is the dress I bought for my sister's wedding. Okay, look at the next example. In this example, since we are dealing with a place, the pronoun where is appropriate. This is the restaurant. We always eat there. There, in the second sentence, makes us use where because we are defining a place. So, this is the restaurant where we always eat is the sentence that contains relative adverb where. This sentence can also be expressed by using the pronoun which, but please be aware that you should add the correct preposition to the sentence. This is the restaurant which we always eat at, or this is the restaurant at which we always eat. Please look at the place of the prepositions. In daily language, prepositions appear at the end of the relative clause, whereas they appear at the beginning of the relative clause in formal language. As I told you in the introduction, the relative pronoun whose is used to define possession. The little boy was crying. His mother left him. His refers to the little boys. So the second sentence defines which little boy we're talking about. The little boy whose mother left him was crying. The young woman seems uneasy. Her friend, her means the young woman's friend, was arrested. So The young woman whose friend was arrested seems uneasy. Okay, the next examples are related with time. So the relative adverb when is used. I have never forgotten the day. Which day? The day I met my husband. So I have never forgotten when I met my husband. Or wasn't it last summer when we moved the piano upstairs? Okay, by looking at those examples, I hope it is clear for you. Please don't forget whose, where, when cannot be omitted. Once again, we can omit who or which if they refer to the object of the sentence. So now it's time to talk about non-defining relative clauses. Unlike defining relative clauses, non-defining relative clauses are the ones that give extra information about the person, thing, or idea they refer to. The sentence will still make sense without them. They're always separated from the main clause by commas. Look at the examples. My sister is coming to visit me next week. She has twins. My sister's having twins is not a necessary information to understand the first sentence. It only gives extra info about her. So the relative clause is a non-defining one. My sister, comma, who has twins, comma, is coming to visit me next week. Please study the second and the third examples. The structures and the meanings are same. So once again, we use a comma before and after the clause if the clause is non-defining. Okay, now it's time to do some practice. You may pause the video and think for a while. Please complete the passage with suitable relative pronouns or relative adverbs. My friend, who took me to a restaurant, works in a big shop which sells expensive shoes. The restaurant where we had lunch was very modern. The food which they served was excellent. The waiters, whose shirts were silk, were always busy with the customers whose wallets were full of money. The table which we had was near a window, so we could see the cars which were parked by the rich customers outside the restaurant. They were being watched by a young man in uniform. After we had finished the meals, the waiter, who or whom my friend called, came with a small silver box which he had already put the bill in. When my friend took the bill out of the box, he opened his eyes in surprise because he had never had to pay so much money before. Okay, I hope the lesson is useful for you. Let's meet in another video.